morning. I am on my way out from the gym back home to start a 4-hour block of work, and I just thought I'd take this time to kind of record my thoughts for the day on what I learned. So I'm still on the focus of vision and putting together a good life. What is a good life? What is a life worth living? I've put that on my vision is live a life worth living, which, if you ask, what do you want? And it's a general enough question to answer. You're going to get a very general answer, which might not be specific enough to drill down to what you actually want. So that's that. What do you want? What do you want to do? And who do you want to be? Those three questions back to the vision that we talked about yesterday. But I want to focus more on the what do you want to do today, just because that's an interesting proposition of how we live, how we spend our lives, what we want to be and what we want to do make up our existence, our life, and those instances of doing and being will culminate into a life. And that's the whole, if you take care of the minutes, the years take care of themselves idea. So it just depends on what you're aiming at, which goes back to the vision. What is your vision? So let's kind of talk about the different things you can aim towards. If you remember, we talked about the vision of where you want to go. How do you break that down? And the concept of freedom, where a lot of people will talk about how their freedom is, I want to do what I want when I want to do it, which ends up being a nihilistic and hedonistic, maybe even a narcissistic goal, because it's about you, and which is okay. You do want to do these things, but if they don't have a purpose, if they don't go towards something that's inherently good, and I'm not going to get into morality today, but if you don't have a compass on where you want to go, then you won't have a compass on what you think is good. And maybe perhaps that's worth developing in and of itself. So once you kind of have a concept of what you feel is good, start asking yourself, what do you want to do that is good? And break it down into what do you want to do that is good for myself. Now, therein lies another set of questions and realizing the outcomes. So there are an infinite amount of outcomes that can happen as of right now for the rest of the day, and even more so tomorrow and the future. Therefore, and that's why making these goals out, that 5-year goals, I think 5-year goals are, I think you should have one 5-year goal, and that's not just me, that comes from other people. But if you have an aim, and that 5-year goal should be that vision of where you want to be, and then you start breaking it down to 3 and then 1. And more importantly, the more important ones are the 12-week goals, which are broken down into weeks, which are broken down into days. So if you follow that logic of I want to do what I want and when I want, how I want to do it, that's okay. What do you want to do? And if you don't have that, you're going to end up in an array of back to the foolish braying donkey of I want to fulfill my instant pleasure right now with whatever I want to do. Well, when I say braying donkey is because of the Pinocchio principle, and if you don't know what that is, if you remember that they go to Pleasure Island, it says the word right in there, pleasure. If all you do is focus on your pleasures, few things happen. One, instant pleasure can rob you of joy. I'm on a journey of asking people, what is joy? And if you're watching this, answer it. What is joy to you? Please, I would love to hear from you. Maybe we can get together on a Zoom or a talk, and we'll discuss what is joy. But instant gratification pleasures, well, they're nice sporadically, or even once in a while. If you aren't pushing yourself towards something meaningful, and all you do is end up in your constant pleasures, you're going to end up that jackass in Pinocchio. You're going to end up taking in every hedonistic thing you can do to yourself, and let alone others, because who cares about others if all you're thinking about is what pleases you in that moment for yourself? And if that's who you want to be, then guess what? You're going to alienate yourself from other people. And if you're going to alienate yourself from other people, you're definitely not going to be in a community. And if you're not in a community, how can you be valuable to a society, let alone a community or another person, or then yourself? You're going to end up a vassal. And that was what we kind of talked about last time, is when you give away all your responsibilities and you think minute to minute, you're really giving away all of your power arbitrarily to somebody. Somebody's going to take it and gladly. And then you complain about not having it. So you it's that downward spiral of it goes back to think, feel, do. So if you want to feel pleasure, which is not joy. Joy and pleasure are two different things. Even happiness is different. And if you disagree with me, tell me why. I would love to hear it. I'd love to learn, and I'd love you to change my mind on what joy is, even though I kind of have been defining it by what it is not. I don't know if that's a good way around it so far, but the pleasures of the instant sum up to losing the pleasure. If you love to eat, drink, be merry, guess what? If you constantly do that, you're not going to do it, and you're not going to do it long. Trust me, I know. I'm in the process of fixing my instant gratification journey when I thought I had some things, and my biggest takeaway was that all the pleasures that I thought I wanted didn't add up to anything. So that's a little bit of a personal story or feeling, and I know it's generic, but maybe you can relate. Perhaps you can think of a time in your life that you just went off for pleasure and hedonism, and it wasn't everything you expected it to be. As a matter of fact, that pursuit of happiness, man, those founding fathers were amazing. That pursuit of happiness might be joy in and of itself. That pursuit of happiness. And what is the pursuit of happiness? Well, you got to define that for yourself. So within all of this infinite possibility of the future, don't aim for instant pleasures. As a matter of fact, aim for something that's worthwhile, and you have to define that for yourself. And so what are you aiming for is the question. And we boil it down to, what do you want to do? What do you want to do for your family? What do you want to do for your community? What do you want to do for peace in your life? What do you want to do for might in your life? How do you want to be mighty? What do you want to do for wisdom? What do you want to do for freedom? And then I usually start with this one, but this one turns off a lot of people. What do you want to do for God? Too many people start with, what can God do for me? Or God's not doing anything for me, so therefore there can't be a God. Or I can't see it, I can't taste it, I can't hear it, I can't prove it, so there can't be a God. Well, I got news for you. There's a lot of things you can't prove. There's a lot of things you can't see, taste, touch, smell that are. God happens to be one of them. I don't mean to. I'm not here to stand on a soapbox about that, but maybe you ask that question, even if you don't believe in God, or if you have no relationship with God, or you had a relationship and you're mad at Him, or you can't fathom what God is. Maybe you start by asking, what is God? Where is God in my life? So I'm kind of focusing on the one that I wanted to avoid, of course, but that's where I usually start, is God. I want to start with God in my life. That's me personally. You don't have to, but I recommend it. So answer those questions. God, family, community. As a matter of fact, this is my little creed for myself, is for God, my family, and my community, I will live a life of creation while practicing peace, might, and wisdom, all in the name of freedom. And that freedom piece is huge, because if that's all in the name of freedom, and that gets to what is freedom, and that's what do you want to do, who do you want to be, and what do you want? And it's okay to want things, and it's okay to want to be things that are a little selfish, and it's okay, and those things are fine. You need to be okay with it. However, that can't be your whole self, or else you'll just turn into this narcissistic, hedonistic, empty shell. And not empty in the good way, where you're pouring yourself out to allow for others to fill you, which is one definition of love. But empty as in you have no capacity. And maybe that's what joy is. Your capacity to be loved. I don't know. What do you think? Anyway, I really appreciate your time. I'm on my way back. I'm almost home. This was a great conversation. Please, if you hear this, I drop a like, maybe even subscribe. I haven't done any post editing. I've just been posting these as is, just because I don't think these are. I just want to do this. This is my practice. I want to start in the messy middle, but I'd really appreciate if you gave me some feedback. Good, bad, and different. Be nice. or not, but yeah, be nice. Maybe that'll help you as much as it'll help me. So, God bless. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to doing this again tomorrow.